All right, I'm sure by now many of you have seen the video where the lady has that Stanley mug and her vehicle burned and the mug clearly survived. Like, I mean, the video's sitting at over 30 million views and it's still growing. It's actually a pretty neat story. Luckily, she's okay. That's the main thing. But unfortunately, the vehicles are right off. Now, shitty situation, and I'm sure she's doing what a lot of us people who make content do. It's like, well, I'm just going to make a funny video because of this situation, whatever. I'm not going to have this opportunity again. So anyway, Stanley gets tagged a whole bunch of times. People are like, you got to get her a free mug, stuff like that. So the president of Stanley makes a video on here and comes out and says, no, we're definitely going to be sending you some merch. We're going to be sending you some gear. But also we want to replace your vehicle, which is absolutely freaking amazing because we don't know the situation leading up to this. We don't know what kind of insurance she had, if it's something that insurance was even going to cover, if they were going to cover the replacement cost of the vehicle, what the age of the vehicle was. So for a company to step forward and be like, hey, we want to help you out, that's pretty cool. Now, like I said in my last video, this is an amazing advertising opportunity for Stanley, and they took the ball and they ran with it. Now, I've been getting some comments in my last video, like this one here, asking, well, I don't know if it's completely real. I don't know if this thing is accurate. So as a firefighter who's extinguished vehicle fires, let's talk about it. Now, without getting a full overview of the vehicle in the video, this is the best shot we can see of what is damaged. And you can see there's all this burned material on the dash, and it looks like the windshield's melted out here as well. Another thing I want to note as well is here's the opening shot. And you can see clearly the seat's still intact, not everything's charred out. So in this vehicle fire here, it wasn't a complete vehicle loss. The whole thing wasn't engulfed in flames. I would suspect it's more so either a dash or an engine compartment fire that was actioned by a fire department and extinguished before it took out the whole vehicle. Now, don't get me wrong, this vehicle is still complete right off. It's going to cost way more to fix it than it is just buy a new one. However, you can tell that it was extinguished. It was actioned by a fire department. Somebody did put the fire out because, you know, we still have plastic buttons on the dash. We still have other components that are still intact. Whereas if a vehicle fire completely engulfs a vehicle and burns through, there's nothing left. Like there's all your seats are just like basically wireframe. Any little bit of metal is about all that's left. And heck, we still have a little bit of water in the cup holder here. But the big thing I want to focus on here is the cup itself. So the cup made of metal and a plastic lid. The biggest thing we can look at here is there's an ashiness to this mug. Like you can tell that anything that's been in a fire gets coated with stuff because there's so many particulates that are in the fire smoke, because you've got, like I said, the burning plastics and the metals and the wires and all this stuff. It will coat a cup like this. You can tell it had some heat because it did change the color. Like these cups are typically more of a vivid orange, and now it's kind of dulled. The plastic lid is still intact. Now, the straw clearly bent over, so it was exposed to heat. Now, if this mug experienced a full front fire, like it experienced high heat, this lid would be completely gone. It would just be a puddle inside the cup. The structure of the cup might still be intact because metal things can survive. Hard to say depending on what it is composed of primarily. But yeah, like looking at this mug here, it's definitely been in a fire. Now, the other part of it is there's ice in the cup. You know, she jingles it around and people are like, wow, no, that's got to be clearly fake. Not necessarily. We don't know where this vehicle fire occurred. Now, the thing is, it could be a colder climate. Have ice in the mug, vehicle fire happens. During that flash fire, you're going to have insulating properties in the mug, especially because it wasn't compromised in any way, shape, or form. And then after the fire has been extinguished, obviously it's open, exposed to open air. So if it's in a colder climate, let's say around 0 degrees Celsius, very likely that ice could stay chilled in that cup, exposed to the open air. But either way, whether you believe it or not, it's still an amazing marketing tool because it still gets the word out there. People are still gonna be like, hey, I should go buy a Stanley mug. So good on them for recognizing the advertising capability of this viral video and helping the lady out. I think it's an amazing thing. It's people helping people, but let me know what you think in the comments and follow for more.